All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, you guys wanted us to dig into the whole intellect versus wisdom thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you gave us this intellect.pdf source. Looks fascinating. So we're not just going to define these words, right?
Right.
We're going to figure out what's really more valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And the source actually jumps right into that.
Yeah.
It says older people might not be as intelligent as us, younger folks, but they're seen as these wise sages.
Oh, totally. I can barely keep up with the latest iPhone,
Right.
But my grandpa, who can't even text, he always seems to know, what to say when I'm, having a life crisis or something.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
And the source, it really digs into this idea of intellect being the software of our minds, the logic, rationality, the processing power.
So it's like raw power, but it needs direction.
Exactly. The source compares it to an AI model being trained, every experience we have, every bit of data, it shapes our intellect.
Interesting.
Just think about your Netflix recommendations, right? They're based on what you watch. So.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The source also says everyone is smart in their own way.
Okay.
It's not just, book smarts or being a math whiz.
Right.
You can be incredibly intelligent when it comes to people.
Yeah.
Or art. Or even, building a business.
Okay,
right?
so it's we each have our own, intellectual fingerprint based on our experiences.
Exactly. Precisely.
Yeah.
And the source makes this point, recognizing that is so important.
Right.
Because it challenges the traditional view of smart, which is very limited.
I'm starting to see how that can be, limiting.
Yeah.
But the source then takes this kind of darker turn, asking, can intellect actually be dangerous?
Ooh, right. And to show that, they talk about these evil geniuses, figures like Osama bin Laden, the Unabomber, even Hitler. They had incredible intellect, but used it for horrible, destructive things.
It's chilling when you think about it, especially that thing about the Unabomber using those crazy puzzles to tell people where his bombs were. That
was weaponized intelligence.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, so it really emphasizes this point. Intellect without a moral compass, without ethics, it can be incredibly destructive.
Yeah.
It's like a powerful engine, but no steering wheel and no brakes.
That's a good analogy, so.
Yeah, and this brings us to that question then, if intellect alone isn't enough.
Yeah.
What is? What's the missing piece?
And I'm guessing that's where wisdom comes in.
You got it. And the source uses all this kind of complicated language to describe it.
Okay.
Self-knowledge, self-transcendence, non-attachment.
Whoa. Lots to unpack there.
Compassion, benevolence, it's a lot, right?
Yeah. So break that down for me. What does it all actually mean?
Basically, it means wisdom isn't just what you know, it's how you apply it. It's understanding the consequences. Making choices that benefit not just you, but others too.
Right.
And having this deeper awareness of your own biases, your motivations, all of that.
So it's not just being right, it's doing right.
Exactly. Aligning your actions with your values, even when it's hard, understanding everything is connected.
Okay.
And that our actions, they have these ripple effects.
Yeah.
Way beyond ourselves.
Now, the source mentions older people often seen as wise.
Right.
But is it just age? Because I know plenty of people who haven't gotten any wiser with time.
Great point. And the source actually says, age and experience, they can help, but they don't guarantee wisdom.
Okay.
They even give this example, Sam Yanish, where reached enlightenment at 21.
Wow.
Okay. Shows wisdom is active. You have to pursue it.
Right.
Not just something you get older. Boom, there it is.
Makes sense. So how do we actively pursue this wisdom? Because the source also says this. We are smart enough to become wise.
Yeah.
Just not brave enough. So what's holding us back?
That's where things get really interesting, because the source says there's this powerful force working against us.
Oh.
It calls it the invisible wall of capitalism.
Ooh.
If you think about it, we're constantly bombarded with these messages about success, achievement, climb the ladder, get more stuff.
Right.
And these messages, they sound positive, but they can distract us from the real work, the inner work.
Right. The work of becoming wise.
Exactly. Yeah. It's we're being trained to prioritize ambition and stuff over genuine fulfillment and connection with others in ourselves.
And the source even says we all have this, inner evil genius.
It's true. This part of us that loves power.
Ooh.
Status, getting ahead, even if it means stepping on others.
Yeah.
And it's wisdom that fights that.
Wow, so we're all having this internal battle.
Yeah. Yeah, between our desire for success and our potential for wisdom happening all the time.
I never thought of it that way.
And it often happens subconsciously, which is why the Source talks about practices like meditation. It's not just relaxing. It's training your mind to see these patterns.
See the illusion.
Exactly. And then, choose wisdom over those ego desires.
That makes sense. But before we get into the hate W of all that, I'm curious about this thing the Source mentions, the connection between narcissism and wisdom.
Right. How can those two things?
Yeah, they seem opposite.
They do. It's one of the most interesting parts of this whole thing.
Okay.
See, narcissists, they seem to love themselves, right?
Yeah.
But their identity is actually tied to what other people think. External validation, their whole self-worth depends on it.
Wow.
Wise people, though, they're more interested in really understanding themselves.
Okay.
Even the uncomfortable parts, the flaws, they don't need that constant approval from outside.
So it's like true self-love, the kind that goes with wisdom. It's about accepting yourself, flaws and all.
Absolutely. And the Source quotes Osho here, who said, "Do not be very smart. Do not be cunning, because in the final analysis, you're not fooling anyone but yourself."
Powerful.
Yeah, it's like saying cleverness, intelligence. If you use it to manipulate, you end up deceiving yourself.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this definition of intellect, its dangers, how it's different from wisdom, but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface here.
There's so much more to uncover.
So where do we go from here?
Well, we've talked about, what wisdom is.
Right.
But now the big question is how?
The how do we actually cultivate this wisdom in a world that honestly seems to reward the opposite?
It's a valid feeling to feel a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, especially after that whole invisible wall thing.
Yeah, it's a powerful force.
For sure.
But the good news from the Source is the first step is just awareness.
Awareness, okay.
Once you see that wall, it's there.
Right.
You can start making different choices.
So becoming aware of the messages we've absorbed.
Yeah, about success, achievement.
And then questioning if those even fit with what I actually believe.
Exactly. And the Source, it encourages us to ask these tough questions.
Okay, like what?
What does success even mean to me personally? What brings me genuine fulfillment? Am I chasing things that actually hurt me or others,
Right, because I'm so focused on whatever, the next promotion.
Yeah, these questions, they can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
But they're crucial to breaking free.
It's we have to deprogram ourselves.
I like that. Yeah, from all those societal narratives.
And then figure out what success even means to me.
Exactly. And that's where those practices we talked about, mindfulness, self-reflection, they come in.
They're not just hippie stuff.
No, they're tools to dismantle that wall brick by brick.
Okay, so break those down a bit more. Mindfulness we touched on.
Right.
But what about self-reflection? What's its role in this?
It's huge because it lets you examine your motivations, your biases, all the hidden stuff.
The stuff we don't even realize is driving us.
Exactly. It's about truly understanding yourself.
And that includes the not-so-good stuff too, right?
Oh, yeah. The weaknesses, the shadow side, all of it.
Sounds like it takes a lot of honesty.
It does. Brutal honesty sometimes. Yeah. And it can be uncomfortable, even painful.
But that's where the growth happens.
The Source argues that, in those moments of discomfort, when you face your darkness, that's when you can truly change.
So not hiding from the flaws, but turning towards them.
Exactly. And the Source even suggests taking it further by actively challenging your beliefs.
Ooh, that sounds a little radical.
It can be, because our beliefs give us stability, identity.
Right.
But the problem is they can get so rigid, formed in childhood, based on limited stuff.
Yeah.
They stop us from seeing clearly, making wise choices.
That's great. So we have to be willing to say, hey, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah, to question everything.
That takes a lot of humility.
It does, admitting you don't have all the answers.
Right.
It's about approaching life with curiosity, open-mindedness.
Not clinging to one rigid way of thinking.
Exactly. Got to be comfortable with not knowing for sure.
Okay, that's interesting. But if uncertainty is key, doesn't that contradict the idea that wisdom brings clarity?
It's not about contradiction. It's about finding that balance.
Okay.
Wisdom lets you hold both certainty and uncertainty together.
How so?
You can have strong convictions, values, but also be open to new info, to your understanding, evolving.
So not abandoning my beliefs, but like holding them lightly.
Yes, letting them be shaped by experience, new viewpoints.
That makes sense, and that ties into compassion too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Source emphasizes that, being open to others.
Yeah.
That's usually for developing compassion, empathy, which is...
Wait, if I'm stuck in my own little world, I can't really understand someone who sees things differently.
And sadly, the Source points out, compassion is kind of dying. In our world, we're more isolated.
Right, everyone in their own bubble.
Yeah, echo chambers, losing the ability to connect.
Especially with people who disagree with us or...
Yeah, different backgrounds, beliefs. It's like we're choosing...
individualism over, like, community.
And the Source says that isolation, it makes us less wise. Because wisdom isn't solo. You cultivate it through relationships, interactions, sharing, all of that.
So how do we fight that isolation then?
Small steps, intentional stuff.
Like what?
Really listening to people, having meaningful talks.
Okay.
Stepping outside your comfort zone, connecting with...
people who are different.
Yes, it's about remembering we're all connected.
Right. Our well-being is tied together.
And true wisdom, it comes from that shared humanity.
So shifting from what's in it for me.
Yeah. To how can we all benefit?
That's a powerful shift. And it brings us back to using our intellect, but for a higher purpose.
Not rejecting intellect, but like teaming it up with wisdom.
Exactly. They both matter. For navigating life, creating a world that's not just smart, but also, just compassionate, sustainable.
This is giving me so much to think about. Wisdom isn't just some like abstract idea. It's actually practical.
It is.
But I got to be honest, that invisible wall, it feels so ingrained. How do we actually overcome something that powerful?
The Source acknowledges it's a huge challenge.
Right.
But the more people who see it, the weaker it gets.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a collective thing.
Yeah, the more individuals who choose wisdom over blind ambition.
We can shift the balance.
Exactly. So our choices matter every time you choose.
Okay.
Compassion over greed, connection over isolation.
Right.
Questioning the status quo, you're chipping away at that wall. So it's not about waiting for someone else to fix things.
No, it's on us.
It's taking responsibility, knowing we can create change.
And that resonates with me deeply. We might not change the whole world overnight, but we can change ourselves.
Right.
And that inspires others, creates a ripple effect.
Okay, that's inspiring, but can I be honest? I'm still wrestling with that.
What's that?
Is it really possible to be both successful in the world and truly wise? Like, can I have both?
That's a question for the ages, But the Source has this perspective, might surprise you.
Okay, lay it on me.
It says true success isn't about those external things.
Okay.
It's about inner fulfillment, living in line with your values, a meaningful life, regardless of money or status.
So it's not the car I drive, it's how I actually live.
Exactly. The impact you have, the legacy you leave.
And that's where wisdom comes in, because it helps us figure out what really matters.
You make those choices that lead to lasting happiness.
Not just chasing the shiny stuff.
Yeah, or needing everyone to clap for you all the time.
Makes sense. But it's hard to shake that feeling.
I know.
Like we're told success is about those outward things.
And the Source says that's the trap.
The trap.
Chasing that validation leads to emptiness.
Because it's based on a fake sense of self?
Exactly. So instead of those external rewards, focus on cultivating peace and fulfillment within.
And that helps with the wisdom thing.
It's essential, the Source says, because when you're not needing everyone's approval, you're free to make choices that align with your deepest values, true happiness.
Okay, I'm starting to get it, but why don't we hear more about this?
About wisdom. Yeah.
Like, why isn't it taught in schools or emphasized more?
Great question. And honestly, I don't have a perfect answer.
Okay.
But the Source, it suggests, wisdom is often seen as a threat.
A threat? By who?
By people in power.
But why would they be threatened by wisdom?
Think about it. Wise people, they're harder to control. They think for themselves, question authority, see through.
To Venus.
Exactly. They're not easily fooled by propaganda.
So it's better for those in power if we're focused on intellect, ambition, the stuff that keeps us distracted.
It's a cynical view, but the Source argues we got to be aware of it.
Okay.
These forces that want to keep us from
our own wisdom.
Yeah, and from questioning the systems that keep things unfair.
It's like a battle for our minds.
In a way, yeah, between the forces that want us asleep
right.
and those that want us to wake up.
But we can win this battle.
We can. We just got to know the stakes.
Okay.
See how we're being manipulated and arm ourselves. The tools of wisdom, mindfulness, self-reflection,
right.
critical thinking, compassion, connection, all of it.
Okay, I'm feeling fired up now. Like, we have this secret weapon.
You do.
And it's time to use it.
That's the spirit. And the source has this one last piece of advice.
What is it?
Don't be afraid to be foolish. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
So it's okay to screw up.
That's how we learn. That's how we grow.
It's not about being perfect. It's about the journey.
The journey with all its bumps and stumbles.
Right. But it's a journey that's worth it.
Because it leads to real happiness, a life of purpose.
Okay. I'm sold, but all this talk about wisdom is making me feel a bit unwise.
That's okay. None of us are born wise.
Right.
It takes time, experience, reflection, willingness to learn.
So where do I even start?
The source says, simply ask the question, what is wisdom?
Okay.
And be open to the answers from within, from others.
Like going on a quest for wisdom.
It is a quest full of adventure discovery.
And transformation.
Exactly.
Okay, last question for you.
Hit me.
What's the wisest thing you've have ever learned?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I'd say realizing true wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about being okay with not knowing.
So embracing the mystery.
Yeah. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know, and that's okay.
It's in that not knowing that wisdom can come out.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. I think I need to sit with that for a while.
Take all the time you need. This is a conversation that can last a lifetime.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of this deep dive. We've explored a lot.
We have.
Hopefully spark some new thoughts for you all.
And the journey doesn't end here. Keep exploring these ideas.
Right.
Ask your own questions. Seek your own wisdom.
Out in the world.
Exactly.
Remember, it's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about being open to learning, growing, messing up.
Yeah, messing up is part of it.
And who knows, maybe someday you'll be the one sharing your wisdom with the world. It's funny, we always talk about intelligence like it's, you either have it or you don't, this fixed thing.
Right.
But going through this intellect.pdf source, wisdom is totally different.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole other.
Yeah. We focus so much on IQ tests, all that.
Standardized stuff, but that's just one tiny part.
Exactly. And what I like is the source says wisdom is something we can all develop. It's not.
Right. It's not just for,
Yeah, like gurus on a mountaintop.
Exactly. It's more like a muscle you can train.
Okay. I like that analogy. And it seems like it's less about knowing a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And more about using what you know in a good way.
In a way that benefits everyone, not just you.
So not just knowing right from wrong, but actually doing the right thing, even when it's tough.
Absolutely. And that takes looking beyond yourself, considering others, how your actions ripple out.
It's like that saying, knowledge is power, but wisdom is...
Ooh, I like this.
Knowing how to use that power responsibly.
Perfect. And the source, it uses that evil genius example.
Right. Those guys had.
All the brain power, but...
Yeah, but no wisdom to guide it.
And that's the difference.
Okay, so wisdom, we got to cultivate it. How do we do that?
Well, the source lays out some key things.
Okay, hit me.
First up, mindfulness. We've talked about it.
Right, being present in the moment.
Yeah, aware of your thoughts, feelings, no judgment.
So meditation or just like paying attention to my breath?
Exactly, just cultivating that awareness.
Instead of being lost in thought or distracted all the time.
Yeah, constantly bombarded by notifications and...
Yeah, the world's a noisy place.
It is, so mindfulness helps quiet that down.
What else?
Self-reflection, big one. Taking the time to look inward, examine your motives, your biases.
All that hidden stuff.
The stuff that drives you, but you might not even realize it.
So asking myself, why am I doing this?
Exactly. What's behind this decision?
And being honest, even if the answer is kind of ugly.
Even if it is, that's how you get to know yourself.
The good and the bad.
All of it. And then taking that even further.
Okay, by challenging my own beliefs, right?
Exactly, because sometimes those beliefs, we formed them young based on limited stuff. They can become...
like a cage.
Yeah, they stop you from seeing the world clearly.
Right, making those wise choices.
So, gotta challenge them, be open to being wrong.
That's hard, admitting I might not have it all figured out.
It is. But that's humility, a key ingredient in wisdom.
It's about approaching life with curiosity, open-mindedness.
Exactly, not getting stuck in dogma or one rigid way of thinking.
So being okay with not knowing for sure.
Yeah, that's where wisdom often comes from, that space of
knowing.
The willingness to let go of certainty, embrace the mystery.
Okay, and you also mentioned connection, right?
Huge one, because wisdom isn't a solo sport.
We need each other.
We do. You cultivate wisdom through relationships.
So connecting with people who are different from me.
Different backgrounds, beliefs. Yeah, listening to their stories.
So not just like arguing with them online.
No, actually listening, trying to understand.
Right. And also nurturing the connections I already have.
Yes, being present with loved ones, offering support.
So this wisdom thing, it's a journey.
A lifelong journey, yeah. Always growing, evolving.
Not about reaching some endpoint, it's the process itself.
And the Source reminds us, it's not about being perfect.
Okay.
It's about being open to, learning, making mistakes, all that.
Messing up is part of it.
It is. You can't learn without making some mistakes along the way.
So for anyone listening, feeling inspired to, start this wisdom journey, what's one piece of advice?
Be curious. That's it. Ask questions.
Don't just accept things at face value.
Exactly. Explore different views. Be open to changing your mind.
And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, to get uncomfortable, to connect with people in a real way.
Because true wisdom, it's not the destination.
It's the journey.
Full of adventure, discovery.
And ultimately transformation.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Into intellect and wisdom. Hope it's given you all some things to ponder and inspired you to cultivate your own wisdom.
And remember, as you go through life, don't forget the power of a curious mind and a compassionate heart.
Those are the marks of a truly wise person. Until next time. Keep seeking, keep learning, keep growing, and